Hello, everyone. Today we are talking a little bit about MDMA, also known as ecstasy, and its use for the treatment of PTSD. First of all, MDMA stands for the name of a compound that I won't even try to pronounce. We more commonly hear it referred to as ecstasy, which is when it is in the pill form, or Molly, which is typically the crystal or powder form. It was first synthesized in Germany back in 1912, where it was used as a compound in a medication that helped blood to clot and controlled bleeding. It is a fully synthetic drug, so it is not derived from any plant or organism found in nature. It started to gain popularity in the 70s and 80s within the realm of psychiatry as practitioners believed that it helped patients to open up more in therapy sessions and made those sessions more productive. Of course, when people realized how it made them feel, popularity on the streets also increased, specifically in the rave and nightclub scene where we still know it to be the most prevalent today. In 1985, the DEA placed a ban on the substance and classified it as a Schedule I substance as it had no legalized medical use, and it has remained a Schedule I substance since then. However, researchers believe the psychiatrists of the 70s may have been onto something about using MDMA clinically to help patients who are suffering from PTSD open up more in therapy sessions. More research is being done with the hopes that the FDA will approve the use of MDMA for medical use. MDMA is most commonly taken in the pill form as ecstasy, which we will focus on, although it can also be snorted as the powder, known as Molly. When taken as a pill, it is absorbed from the GI tract where it goes through first-pass metabolism and can be affected by how much food is eaten beforehand. It is unclear at this time if the bioavailability of MDMA is affected by depot binding. It has a half-life of about 8 hours and takes about 5 half-lives, or 40 hours, for 95% of the drug to completely clear your system. MDMA is metabolized in the liver by the CYP2D6 enzyme. There are other enzymes that can aid in metabolism, but they can become saturated at very low levels of MDMA. While the main compound is broken down, leftover metabolites can remain in the body, meaning that MDMA could potentially be detected in a drug screening for a longer period of time than other drugs. So how exactly does it work? MDMA blocks reuptake of monoamine neurotransmitters such as serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine by binding to the reuptake transporter. This increases the amount of these neurotransmitters that are in the synaptic cleft, meaning more can bind to postsynaptic receptors and elicit a larger response. Increased binding of serotonin causes a sense of euphoria and well-being. It can also increase willingness to socialize and open up to others, which is why using MDMA during therapy may make the session more productive. Increased norepinephrine is correlated with increased energy, wakefulness, and endurance, which is also helpful in increasing a patient's willingness to fully participate in treatment. The downfall of MDMA use for treatment is that there are some negative symptoms that can appear during use and after the initial effect of the drug wears off, known as the come-down phase. Hyperactivity can occur due to the steep increase in stimulation and arousal, which can also be associated with hallucinations, irritability, and sleep disturbances. Symptoms of depression, anxiety, and fatigue can also occur after use as well due to a depletion of serotonin stores in the brain. This brings us into our discussion of addiction potential. MDMA blocks dopamine reuptake, and it is possible for the patient to start feeling a need to use the drug due to activation of the reward pathway, which is an example of positive reinforcement. Physical dependence on MDMA may occur to try and combat the negative symptoms that can be felt after MDMA use, which is an example of negative reinforcement. If the patient begins chronically using the drug, they could develop tolerance as they will stop making serotonin due to the constant flow of serotonin during drug use, although very few studies have been done in humans. More MDMA must be taken over time to release enough serotonin to feel the same level of effects. However, withdrawal symptoms of MDMA are the same as the symptoms felt during the come-down phase of heavy use and are much more mild than many other Schedule I and II substances. The symptoms usually subside in around 3 to 5 days, which is also a much shorter period than many other drugs. While chronic heavy use of MDMA can lead to negative symptoms and possible addiction, the use of small doses of this drug to help PTSD patients who are struggling in treatments presents very little downfall. A smaller dose may help the individual open up to create effective therapy while not creating the extreme euphoria or hallucinations associated with heavy use. Using small and controlled doses could also limit the extreme depression after use due to the depletion of serotonin. Ultimately, we hope the success in human trials continues and the FDA agrees to allow use of MDMA for patients whose lives are overshadowed by the struggles of PTSD. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you enjoyed.